Hey guys, welcome back. Recently I was working on my F-150 with the cooling system, and that had me thinking about an infomercial I see every weekend for the Clamptite. You know, the little hose clamp, wire clamp thingy? Made me wonder, does that thing actually work? Well, I'm not going to pay $100 to find out, so let's make one instead. It's been a while since we made a tool here in the shop, but I always like these creative outside the box tool builds. One thing I want to do here today is I want other people to do this, in particular my friend Grant over at Str8 Six Fan. So we are extending a challenge over to him to go and come up with a tool of his own. He doesn't have to come up with it all together, but I want him to make something like this and share it. So I'll leave a link to his channel. Everybody go subscribe to him, pick a video, leave my name in the comments so he knows you want to see him make something. Getting started here, pretty simple with what we're starting out with. We've got a 1/4 inch turnbuckle, and we have a 1/4 inch bolt and wing nut. Before we get too far into the actual build of it, we need to understand what it is that they're actually doing. So to kind of demonstrate that, we're going to use a piece of string and a piece of pipe here. And this is taking the place of the wire. When watching their videos, they loop the wire around and they loop it through twice. And then the tool is applied. And what it does is it holds this end and pushes against this loop. So basically what they're doing is they get that in place and then they're pushing in both directions. And once they've got that pushed real tight, because it's going against this loop and pulling that, then it flips this over and then they cut that off. And where that little bend in the wire makes, that's what holds it tight. So that's what we need to replicate, is something pushing against the loop while pulling the wire the other way. Now that we know what the principles behind how this works is, let's look at what we're going to use. We have a 1/4 inch turnbuckle and the corresponding bolt and wing nut. So what we're going to do is take the turnbuckle and we're going to take this side completely out, and this is a normal threaded end on it. So our bolt will fit in the end of it. We're going to put this bolt all the way in and we're going to tighten that up. Then we're going to cut the head of this bolt off and put a notch in there. Now this piece will be what butts up against the loop, to where when we're pushing that wire apart, that'll be where that touches that loop and pushes that direction. Now to make the corresponding pulling side of it, we're going to go and take out the hook side of this, and we are going to drill this side out so that this eye loop will fit down in there. Once that eye loop's in there, we're going to use this wing nut and we're going to put on here, and we've got to grind this down a little bit so that it'll fit inside of there. But once we have that hole enlarged out, as we turn this eye loop, it will draw that wing nut up and it'll actually pull the wire. So we'll have the loop attached to this end, the excess wire looped around this wing nut, so when it cranks, it pulls that apart, giving us the tension. And then once we have tension on it, we'll be able to flip it over just like they do with the tool, and it should work out the same. So let's make those cuts and make all that fit. Alright, there it is. As you can see, there's a little notch cut into the end. That's where it sits on the loop. Wrap the wires around this wing nut. When we turn this, since we have that drilled out now, there's no threading. And as you turn it, it pulls that wing nut back like that, putting tension as it pulls apart. Let's give it a try. Alright, there you have it in action, I guess. I tried it with a couple different wires. Clearly I don't have the wire that is needed. Tried it with some welding wire. That was way too stiff. But I think that the strength is there on that. To really get any kind of clamp, you got to have a stiff wire, I think. I also had some Cat 5 because I'm a telecom guy. So I had that laying around. That was much easier to work with, and ultimately it does work, but with that, that's a weaker wire, so we're not going to get a good tight clamp with that. So I don't know. The verdict's still out on this being all that it's cracked up to be. I can see it taking the place of a zip tie, but that's about as far as I would want to put it to the test there with it. But fun little 5-minute project. So you want to try it? There you go. Alright, well, that was a fun little project. Update on the F100. It's still sitting there. Not really much is getting done on that because I am in the midst of building a house, as much as you know. So that's still there, just not getting much work. Like I said earlier, I want to extend this challenge to Car Guy Grant to come up with his own tool. So head on over to his channel, find a video, any video, put my name in it, subscribe to his channel. We'll see you next time.